Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bill Levinson, managing partner with Levinson and Associates. With us today, in fact, we have a special program for everybody that's attending this afternoon. The reason why it's special, I'll just talk quickly. We have obviously a hurricane that's about to hit South Florida, and we wanted to really make a point to not delay or reschedule this webinar because we thought it was that important that all of our agents, in fact, in South Florida and all over the country, took a chance and spent, at least 30 to 40 minutes with us to hear our great presenters today. And we have, which is kind of unique to us, we have two very successful agents that are joining us, and you're going to get to hear about a couple of monster cases that they wrote from the LEAD program, and they're going to give you a little bit of insight and kind of how they do things, good and bad, and tips, pluses, minuses, basically everything regarding the mortgage protection LEAD program. We also have the program creator, Stephen, who's on with us as well, and of course, Joseph, our marketing vice president. So very special webinar. And, first of all, our prayers and thoughts go out to everyone in South Florida and in Florida, in fact, because it looks like the storm is going straight up the middle, unfortunately. So everyone can mute their phone. That would be great. We have 5 guest speakers on. So what we'll do is when I introduce whichever guest speaker is up, then you can unmute your phone, and then we'll ask you some questions. That would be perfect. So what I suggest is just, sit back, take out a pen and paper, and jot down any notes, questions, comments, good and bad, anything that comes up. We definitely want to hear your comments and, of course, answer any questions that you have about the Mortgage Protection LEAD program. I'm going to mention a few things before we jump into the presentation. First off, you hear about so many programs, LEAD programs, internet LEAD programs, mortgage mailers. I mean, you name it, it's out there. There are so many third-party LEAD vendors right now trying to earn your business, and most of it is BS, okay? And we all know that. We've done our due diligence on many programs, and typically, I'm not even exaggerating, like 2 out of 10 work out to be good programs. The Mortgage Protection LEAD program is exclusive to us. It's tried and true. We're going on our 5th year now. So the program works. The proof is in the pudding. You have to remember that it's a co-op program, so it costs us dollars for every agent to participate. And even though you get a great price, our agents, meaning they still have to go in their pocket and pay for their batch of leads. So when I say the proof is in the pudding, if the agents didn't come back week after week or month after month to participate and purchase more leads, then we wouldn't have the program in existence any longer, as we all know. So obviously it's working, okay? We're going to be close to $1 million of lead sales this year, okay? We're on a run rate of just under $1 million for 2017. That's $1 million of leads purchased, okay? Now, keep in mind, it costs us money for every agent to participate. So just think about those numbers for a second. And we're not even a lead vendor, okay? We are an IMO, as you know, and we make these available through our third party, Stephen, who's on the call with us. So we make these available to our agents, okay? Most of them are on this call right now, okay? It costs us money, and we're at almost $1 million. We don't advertise or market the LEAD program. All we do is make it available to our active agents, and we're at almost $1 million in lead sales. That, to me, is mind-boggling and shows you the program works. And you don't have to take our word, and that's exactly why we brought on 2 guest speakers today. Okay, one just landed a monster case, about $80,000 of premium. Now, you say to yourself, well, let's say this is for mortgage protection, and let's say the mortgage was $372,000. how can someone write an $80,000 of annualized premium case from that? Okay, well, there's a lot of ways. Okay, it's all about opening the door and then pivoting to go in whatever direction that client needs help with. So if it's long-term care, an annuity, indexed UL, you can't always go by what that number is, and just because it's from a mortgage mailer, that doesn't mean that the person is not, middle to upper class or blue collar, white collar. Okay, this is your foot in the door. It's your chance to tell your story, and wherever that story winds up is totally up to you and that lead that you purchased. So these are two examples. We have Rich and Kent. Kent's another one. He wrote $76,000 of annualized premium with 2 cases from the mortgage mailer program. Okay, so that's why I wanted to have them on the call. So you don't have to take our word. You can listen to them, and they have taken time out of their busy schedules, okay, to jump on this call and share these success stories with our agents, okay? And we here at Levinson, yes, we're packing up for the storm. We're going to be closed a half day today and, of course, tomorrow, and then back Monday morning if everything goes as planned. But, again, us here at Levinson, we thought it was important enough to not go home to our families, which obviously is important, but we wanted to make sure that we were open long enough to tell our story and share this webinar with our agents. So I think that shows everyone on the call, and even us here at Levinson and our employees, it just shows a ton on how much we care about our agents' success. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about the Mortgage Lead Protection Program, what the cost, how many free leads you get. We're going to introduce Stephen, who created the program, and then we're going to jump right in here. So first off, just a few bullets. The program is 100% exclusive, no shared leads. Each order is exclusive to that particular agent. The minimum order is 14 leads. The lead cost is $18 per lead. Now, with every batch of leads ordered, you get 2 free leads, okay? At 17, if you order 17 leads, you get an extra free lead. At 20 leads ordered, you get a total of 4 free leads. And that's just to make up for, let's say maybe you got a older client, or maybe the mortgage amount wasn't that high, or maybe one of the calls, maybe the person had some health issues. Whatever the case is, we're giving you a few freebies to make up for anything that doesn't pan out for you, okay? And that's just out of goodwill. No minimum order. So if you want to order for the next couple weeks, great. And you want to take 3 months off, no problem. Okay, if we have an agent that just brought in fact, he's on this call, he brought in his wife to work with him full time, and now he's ordering 40 to 60 per week, okay? And he was very spotty. He would order every now and then. He hit a monster case. Now he's going full-time, full steam ahead. So everything is available to you. If it's one order every month or 6 months, no problem. If you want to jump right in head first, that's great too. So every single Monday, the leads are placed with us. You have to get your lead order in Monday before the end of the day, and then you will receive your leads by the following day, which is Tuesday, before the end of business hours. Of course, all lead business must be placed through Levinson, and I mean this sincerely. Keep in mind, it costs us money and time to make this program available to you, okay? So do the right thing. And any business that gets written through the lead program, make sure that goes back through Levinson. In most cases, you're going to make more commission anyway than our competing IMOs or agencies. So there's really no reason to do that. Plus, the business will be spot checked. And if anything doesn't pan out, where maybe an app was written through someone else from our lead program, you will be banned from the lead program moving forward, which would be a shame. So please make sure we all do the right thing. We never had any issues, and I know we will never have any issues. Okay, so without further ado, Steve, who's also in South Florida, who's wrapping up his house and family as well, he's gonna talk for a few minutes and give you his take on the lead program and share how the leads are generated, and just give you a little 100-foot overview on the Mortgage Protection Mailer Lead Program. Steve, are you there?
Yes, Bill. Thanks so much. And I'd like to thank the agents, especially who were attending from Florida and all along the upper coast in the states there. Just as a quick overview of this program, as Bill said, I've created this program and I've created it from my own experience because I was an end user for many, many years and was very, very successful at using somebody else's leads. However, as anything, we all always say to ourselves, if I was king of the world, I could do this or that or whatever. And that's what I attempted to do with this program, was to refine it and make it better. And the end result is really very simple. You know, these leads are generated by the people who respond themselves. These are not cold call leads. These are not internet leads. People take the time to fill out a profile that's mailed to them, and they send it back. So you're reaching people, each and every one of them, that are receptive to some degree. They expect a call. Their phone numbers are on there. And they've given you the particulars as far as their profile, as I say, ages and if they're smokers, their heights and weights, and that kind of thing. So you're dealing with a good population of people who have a need. So the door has now opened for you. And as Bill mentioned, it's a matter of your skill and your talent as to what you do with that open door. I could spend the rest of the afternoon telling you my personal experiences, but the fact remains that when you have opportunities as salespeople and you have the skills, there's no telling what the end result may be, where the goal line may take you. But these are exclusive leads, and they're from all over the country. And we do attempt to provide each agent that orders leads that they have requested in the counties they have. But it's no secret that the more heavily populated areas of people will have the more heavily populated amounts of leads. So, you know, the leads in a given state will vary as to, meeting the needs of the agent that ordered them. But the most important thing is the quality of the leads. And this is where I wanted to do the very best I could for the agents. You know, the information is there as far as, and what we do with this information is we filter, we edit these. And I can tell you for a fact that probably upwards of about 40% of the leads that are generated do never ever see the light of day. And that's because either one of the two people, their ages, the amounts of the insurance, and also things that we can see for ourselves as far as underwriting snafus. We won't provide an agent with someone that's approaching 300 pounds or more. That just, I feel, in the end, I want to give an agent an opportunity each and every time of having a good shot at not only reaching the person, but having a good shot of having something fulfilled from an underwriting standpoint. So these are things that I can assure you lead programs never pay attention to. You know, you want 20 leads, okay, here you go. And if you get a 78-year-old, an 81-year-old, and so forth and so on, someone who's 6'1" and 350 pounds, okay. Whatever the case is, these are things that we pay special attention to. We can't read in any more from what we see than that, but at least we do the best due diligence we can. The free leads are something else that no vendor would provide. And as Bill mentioned, there's a variety of reasons we do that. And, you know, sometimes it's just not able to reach all the people. You know, people just don't pick up their phones. Sometimes there is situations where, well, the second one that wasn't even listed on the lead is a little older than you would hope. Or they really just, just wanted to get some information. But the fact remains, those 2, 3, 4 extra leads will fill in for those kinds of contingencies. So, you know, from what I've tried to do, is provide agents with the best quality lead and leads that I myself as an end user would be very happy with. And that's the story of the lead program from the vendor's perspective.
Yep, that's perfect, Steve. I think that kind of gives everyone a handle on the program and definitely helps answer some questions. And again, for everyone on the call, you know, if there's anything else, we had to keep this line closed and muted because of the amount of agents. But whatever comes up, please don't hesitate to call us or just shoot us an email or whatever easier for you. Reach out to any one of our marketers here. Okay, so next up, and first off, I want to personally thank Kent from Texas, okay, who is always there for us, and he has been running with the program since day one of our pilot agents, and he is the person, an agent I was referring to in the beginning of the call that wrote almost $76,000 of premium with one client from the Mortgage Protection Mail or Lead program. So I thought it was important enough that he jump on here and share his way of working the Lead program and some of the success stories that has worked for him and some great examples. So without further ado, we have Kent from Texas. We're going to just start with this first. We have a few questions to ask him. The first one is, how soon do you call or text the leads after you receive them? And then as far as follow-up, you know, if there's no answer, do you give it a certain amount of time until you call back or follow up? And then if the prospect is pushing you off, which happens all the time, you know, do you give them a little breathing room or do you basically move on to the next lead? So if you can dive into this a little bit, Kent, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill, Joe, and Steve. Appreciate you guys, and I wish you guys safety during this hurricane that's coming your way. We just took it in the shorts down here in Texas, so good luck. So when I receive the leads from Joe, basically immediately I start calling immediately. You don't want to sit on these leads because other opportunities are in front of other people. So you're aggressively going after them. So just to give you kind of a really good view of how I do things, I call immediately, and I'll call day after day. I'll call morning, noon, evening, and Saturdays to find their habits. I try to find a timeline in which every person has a routine. So my job is to, as an agent, is to find a person's routine. And that's not always easy to do, but I'll call about 10 different times, and then after that, relax. The idea is just not to stress out over all of these leads because you're going to get a lot of no's and a lot of people that don't answer the phone. But after a while, you need to relax and then give them time. In other words, I wait about 2 weeks and then I start hitting it again. And it's because you need to give them a little bit of time to forget who you are, because once they get the idea you're trying to sell them something, then they're on to you. So they have a short memory though, because many people are calling them. So you have to differentiate yourself from others and be a little bit different. So again, find the habits and the timeline of all of your prospects. Finding out what their daily routine is important. And, you got to find out their personality. The first run, I'll call it the first run or first connection you'll have with your peeps or your people, prospects, will be you'll try to identify their personality. Most of the time, you're not going to sell or make a sale on the first conversation. Sometimes you will, most of the time you won't. But I say that because you need to find out their personality, and I'll get into that down the line when we talk about the large case. But that's what I do. You don't oversimplify it or make it complex. This is a really simple business, and when something's simple, we have a tendency to sometimes beat it to death and make it too complex. Just keep it simple, and I think that you'll see success.
Yeah, that's perfect. And keep in mind, the facts are, in any kind of sales position, most of the final sales are done between the 5th and the 12th follow-up. That could be a call, a mail, or an email, or everything in between. So number 5 through 12, that's a lot of consistency and persistency right there. But that's a fact, and it works with everything. So I would definitely jot down that number, 5 through 12. Okay, next up is, what objections do you typically hear, and how do you handle? I think this comes up with all kinds of sales, but with the Mortgage Protection Lead Program, I know we have a certain bucket of objections that you must hear all the time. Just curious of what the norm is and how do you handle?
Yeah, I'll give you three that come off the top of my head. One is, I didn't fill out the form, or I didn't send it to you. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't send that to you. Well, my response is, okay, well, I have a lot of specific details about you that someone either sent to me, or your information has been compromised if you didn't send it to me. So let's talk about that. You got to shock them a little bit and open up their eyes to, well, wait a minute, this guy's got information on me. And then you just start rattling off, is your date of birth X, and is your height and weight this, and you have valuable information in front of you. So I would highly suggest you use that tool to reel them in. And when you get their attention, then ask them the $10 question: what happens to your family if something happens to you? And if you die, what happens to the mortgage on your home? Is it paid for? So, shock them a little bit on that particular objection. The idea behind being in the insurance business, knowing how to handle objections, and going forward and getting them to talk a little bit. Second thing is, they're going to bring up, well, it's just too expensive. Well, my position on that has always been to undersell the insurance, not oversell it. So obviously you're going to start out with, let's say someone has a $150,000 mortgage balance, which you see on these leads, the mortgage balance. Well, go into this thing offering $120,000 face amount or $100,000 face amount, because it's always easy once they get approved to say, hey, you got Preferred Plus, why don't you just get enough to cover the mortgage? So my position there is to always undersell, not oversell, because in the back end of this deal, you're going to be able to upsell them and talk them through it as they get a great health rating. Say, listen, you're as young as you'll ever be, you're healthier than you'll ever be. Why wouldn't you cover your full mortgage and maybe even extend it from the 20 years that we wrote to 30 years? And you go from a $50 a month premium to a $100 a month premium. The third objection I'll bring up is that they may have an appointment already set up. You'll find at times, and I'm always straightforward with everybody, as Bill knows, that I'm not going to sugarcoat any of this. I'm going to say that you're not always going to be the only person in the game of your conversation. A lot of times you'll make a phone call and, well, I've already got an appointment. Someone's coming to my house tomorrow or next week. If you hear that, that's a wonderful thing. Just remember, don't make it a negative, and don't hang up the phone and say, oh, he doesn't or she doesn't want to buy from me. You want to address that and say, really, someone set up an appointment a week from now, but they're waiting a week to visit with you. Why wouldn't you talk to me about that immediately if there's, no obligation on your end, and I can provide you with verbal quotes, and I'll get your email. I'll send those to you with, there's no obligation on your end to purchase, but I would like to just have you have an open forum and be able to ask questions to me without feeling obligated to purchase. So you're taking a lot of the sales out of the conversation. I would highly recommend that you address those objectives objections with, why can't we just talk right now and be friends? I don't want to sell anything. I just want to make sure if you're buying from somebody else that you're actually getting a good deal. So that's how I would handle those three, Bill.
Yep, that's perfect. By the way, this is the last question here. I do want to mention that if you are interested or you have an agency with a few agents under you, or, no matter what the number is, Kent is also available for either one-on-one coaching, or, like I said, if you have an agency, he can jump on a webinar, depending on your location, do a in-person or over the phone, whatever works for you, but he is available. It's a discounted co-op fee that he offers, but we can definitely put you in touch with him, and you guys can work something out. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as well. Okay, and the last question here, and my favorite question, I think it's all of our favorite question, is can you give us some big case examples and how they developed? We know Kent is the king of turning around these mortgage mailers into these monsters. So if you can give us maybe one example or two examples of kind of how this developed and how you turned that corner and made something big out of nothing.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting case. It's two cases, but it's from the same client. So I'll start out with A and just work my way down to Z. It's a short story, but basically it was a mortgage protection that opened the door. I made the phone call, and the first phone call just didn't go right. I mean, matter of fact, it was, it was the wife of a doctor, a chiropractor actually. And in the very beginning, we just didn't hit it off. I was too aggressive, which I can be, and I have to learn that personality based on, mirroring someone else's personality. So come to find out, she is a very, very good person and a very easy to work with, as you'll hear through the conversation. But it didn't click, so she actually kind of hung up on me. 1 week later, I called back. Like I said earlier, there's a short memory in people's minds, and you have to just accept that fact that it's true. Unless you just say something that's going to offend somebody, they're going to forget you. They've had a lot of phone calls. They've had a lot go on in their life. And here in Dallas, people are moving very quickly. So, people, they quickly forget who they spoke to. So I called back in 1 week. I approached her in a very different way after I learned her personality. I learned what time. Always write down when you talk to somebody take notes. When you speak to somebody, if it's 11:30, their habits are pretty much the same. You will find that they will be at that same phone number at 11:30, that same time that next week on that same day. People are creatures of habit, and you have to practice that. So after I spoke with her a week later, we talked about why she was purchasing the insurance and who she was, looking for. And basically, it was more than about a mortgage protection. It was a bank required insurance, basically a term policy. They had put a business together. The bank was requiring them to secure some debt that they had and collateralize it. So a $3.5 million policy needed to be written. We wrote the policy. They paid it monthly. It was about a little over $2,500 a month, and that took place. So I think that came out to whatever the number is. In the end, I wrote $76,931 worth of insurance because a year later, I called her back. I called the doctor back, and we had a conversation, and they needed another $5 million of insurance because their business had grown. So overall, I wrote, $8.5 million, and we wrote $76,931 worth of insurance, which that came to, I think, $6,411 monthly. I don't know anybody out there that doesn't like $6,400 a month depositing in their bank account. And then you add I call that a home run in my world. And there's a lot of singles and a lot of doubles that you hit that add up to, an easily $10,000, $15,000 a month income. So bottom line is it started out a very poor conversation, ended up on a positive note, and it had to do with how we responded and how we adapted, overcame, and improvised the situation. So I would encourage everybody to just understand that when you make the initial phone call, that's not a no. It's a not now, and you need to be persistent, consistent, and just be very hopeful and know through these conversations that I'm going to provide and Rich is going to also provide that there is actual facts that are supporting what's going on in this business. So I would encourage everyone to just know that if you hit enough singles and you get enough small ones, the big ones will come. Thank you.
Yep, that's exactly right. And just keep in mind that whole case was started from an $18 mortgage lead. So that is awesome, and that's a great story. And like I always say on these calls and in our live meetings, you have to, so important, you have to be in the right state of mind. You have to be positive, and that people feel that energy, if it's in person or over the phone, whatever it takes to be in that right place mentally, you have to do that or else I don't care if you know everything about life insurance there is to know and you have an MBA and CLU, CHFC, your message won't come across the same and they're not going to buy in. I promise you. So important. All right, great stuff, Kent. Again, we appreciate you taking the time. If anyone on the call is interested in speaking more to Kent, just let me know, and we will definitely put you in contact. Okay, next up is Richard from all the way from North Carolina, who is taking time out of his busy day and schedule to share his great story with us. And the whole reason and the way this came up is just recently, okay, he placed a monster case, about $80,000 of premium, again, from an $18 mortgage protection mailer lead. So great stuff. So without further ado, we have Richard from North Carolina. We're going to start off with this first question, and I think this is all on the top of our minds, and we'll jump right in here. How did your latest large case from the LEAD program develop? If you can just kind of tell us how this conversation went, and then when the turn occurred, and basically how you took it from there and made it into a monster case. Rich, you there?
Yeah, sure will, Bill. Okay, the case was actually $95,000. It was $83,000 GUL with American National, and about $12,000 of 20-year term with Lincoln Financials, about $95,000.
Beautiful.
But it was a mortgage lead from back in September, and the guy lives in London, England, and he has a high-value home in North Carolina, and right outside Charlotte, where I live. And I tracked him down relatively fast and got the ball rolling. Used the old Ben Feldman close, sold him on the exam. His mortgage amount was large. It was $4 million, or I had a $4.5 million house, or a $3 million mortgage, somewhere in that range. And he was going to move forward, and I was going to get the exam arranged, this and that, and then via texting and emails, he just dropped off the face of the earth. He didn't respond back to me via Texas, where he was previously, et cetera, et cetera. I probably did 3-4 different texts to him and follow-ups. I didn't want to bug the guy. He's CEO of a large company over in Europe, in London, and so I let about 6 weeks go by, and I knew that he had his second home in North Carolina. So I figured, hey, he might be home around Christmas time. So around Christmas time, around sometime mid-December, I picked up the phone and called him. Got him on the phone live, and he apologized for not getting back with me. Okay, and long story short, we just scheduled the exam when he was going to be back in town again in April, and so the exam was scheduled 3-4 months out, and got the exam arranged, and he took his exam. Never met the guy, okay, until the very end of the process. But during the time from December to April, I slowly turned the case into a estate planning case. I didn't want to get into all the details of estate planning because he was doing it originally just for the mortgage. But you know how people initially buy insurance for one purpose, or they think that that's the reason why. But just like the gentleman from Texas saying, that there's additional needs there, and it grows into whatever the case is going to be. So I turned it into a estate planning case. His net worth was $10, $11 million, et cetera, et cetera. Sent him some videos and emails, articles, and it was an education process. And so by the time he took the exam, he was giving me feedback. Well, I think I might want to go $10 million. So we'll check and see. And so he took the exam, and we got multiple offers in from different companies. He had some health issues, starting to get diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. He was highly motivated, and he needed the coverages. He could afford it. And we set up a life insurance trust for him. He had me take care of it. I just got an attorney here in town, and he came up about 3 weeks ago on a summer vacation. Met him at the attorney's office the first time, getting the life insurance trust. It was a done deal at that point in time. And when the policies came in, I delivered the policies to his wife because he had already gone back to London and collected the premium and placed the case. So that's kind of how it unfolded.
Wow.
Definitely the fortune is in the follow-up. There's no doubt about that. I followed up with the guy. I didn't want to bug him. He's the CEO of a company, but I figured, what the heck, I'm gonna call him again in December. And obviously, it was a smart move. And I got him on the phone, and he was motivated to take his exam, and that's how it unfolded.
Yeah, that's a great story. And when I heard this, I couldn't believe it. And that's when I said to Joe, I was like, we have to get Richard on our call to speak to our other agents about this. So, everyone can hear this is real life stuff. It's not just us, trying to sell some leads that actually cost us money to have you participate in. This is real stuff, but from real agents, just like all of us that are on this call here. So, and what's so neat about that story is, probably 95% of this whole sale was done without Rich even seeing the client face to face. That's all over the phone and through emails.
Yeah, Bill, on these leads, as everybody knows, a lot of them are not going to be in your area, so you have to develop the skill. You have to develop the skill of communicating through, texts, emails. That's all I do. I don't do go-to meetings or anything like that. But you just, a lot of people, they don't want to see you face to face anyway. And if the guy's 2 hours away, you don't want to go drive see the guy. So, exactly. But there are many larger homes and high net worth people that send back these reply cards in. It's not, certainly there was some luck involved in getting a $4.5 million home. But, I did mortgage leads 10, 12 years ago when I was doing some leads myself. And I wrote a $21,000, ROP case with American General. It was about $21,000 premium. Another case back in December. Sometimes you call the people, right, and they've already bought. And I just asked some questions that they've taken an exam, and these people didn't take an exam. They were in their 60s. The guy did simplified issue. I kind of educated them on the exam process, why the rates sometimes be better, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, took an app with Lincoln Financial, table shape program, got him standard. He was table D with the other company. And because the guy did a no exam, and it was like $7,500 or about $8,000 annualized premium. So if they've already bought, I ask them, did they take an exam or not? Because, let's face it, when people don't take an exam, sometimes the rate's going to be higher, and an agent makes a decision, whether to do that or not. And so when I talk to the folks, I try to determine if it's going to be an exam type of lead or no exam type of a scenario. So I ask them some questions, about what they do for a living. You look at the zip code where they live, the value of the mortgage, and you just try to get a gut feeling of, hey, is this going to be more time cost effective to do a no exam kind of scenario? Or is this going to be a larger case where I need to get, a $500,000 North American living benefits and get the guy, the best possible rate? So it's kind of a gut feeling on that. So I do a combination of both exams and no exams.
Yep, whatever it takes. That's great. And even if the client says, I have a policy already, that's actually great news, because they already bought into this whole life insurance concept. And 9 out of 10 times you can go in and replace or get them something better or in addition to, and save them premium dollars, like Rich did with that table shave. They were offered, a 3 or 4 table policy, and he probably came in at standard, shaved off the 3 or 4 tables and saved them, could be more than 50% of premium. So use our office for that too, and we can help you pivot and help you with certain carriers and hotspots and niches, so you can save that client premium dollars, and then that's a slam dunk at that point. Okay,
Bill, let me insert here. Yeah. We all know the demographics of insurance agents, financial advisors, et cetera. The average age is better than I do, Bill, 55 or older. And think about it. How in the heck can a guy makes $4 million a year not have a life insurance agent? All the top of the table, a lot of these guys I see at $1 Million Round Table that were in their 50s, 25, 30 years, they're all retired, and there's not a lot of new younger people coming in. So, any agents that are in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, or 60s, there's just not nearly the competition anymore. The competition is really yourself, and getting to talk to them on a favorable basis, and that's what the mortgage leads does. It gets you to talk to someone on a favorable basis.
Yep, no, that's exactly right, and I'm so glad our agents are on the call hearing this right from the horse's mouth. This is great stuff. Okay, we're gonna jump down to the last question here, and I think we heard a little bit about Rich's follow-up and then how he uses technology. But basically, you said how you use obviously the telephone, and then you do a lot of texting and emailing with videos and presentations. And is there anything else that you want to mention as far as your follow-up, and then how you use any kind of technology with your sales?
Sure. With all the leads, a lot of the numbers, of course, are going to be people's cell phones, because you don't have home phones anymore. And I have a texting app, and I have, 4 or 5 different templates of different texts, but I have a initial text I'll send to people that I'll be calling them and point a couple things out to differentiate to make myself look a little different, because they are perhaps sending another reply cards. So it's kind of me prepping them that I'll be calling. That definitely helps, because a lot of times people will text back and they'll say, I'm available right now. On occasion that will happen, okay? And someone will text like right back and say, yes, call me tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Then you obviously can determine that lead is a lot more hotter, call that one sooner than someone else. So I use texts. I'll do follow-up texts, and then I have all sorts of templates for my emails. So there's, it takes a while to write a good email. So once you have one that's down pat, I save it, make a few changes. I can send off a very persuasive, thorough email, that might only take me 2-3 minutes, where if I was composing from the start, it might take me a half an hour. So, when you are doing stuff on the phone and via technology, you have to have good written communication. Because that's one of the tools that you're using. So you got to be you have to write good written communications, and that takes time. So I have templates that will save me time.
Very smart.
And then of course I call, follow up, and then if you can't reach them, hopefully maybe you have their email address, or if you get the email address when you talk to them, and then the lead kind of falls off the table, so to speak, you just get them in your CRM. And you drip them, under a life insurance category, and then of course you want to follow up if you haven't done 5 or 6 times. Maybe like the gentleman from Texas said, you let some time go by, and then you give another run in reaching them. But perhaps in the meantime, a couple of emails they would have gotten from you, could kind of make yourself look different and distinguish yourself maybe from other people that's not sending good written communication to them.
Yep. And you'd be surprised. Most of these agents are, I hate to say this, but most of them are not taking those extra steps and sending the text follow up and the email follow up. So be proactive and definitely put the time in and laying out those seeds, because it works. And Rich and Kent will tell you firsthand. Okay.
Yeah, so what it is, a lot of these agents, and I'm not passing judgment on anybody, because we all start somewhere. But a lot of them are kind of like the national agent alliance guys. They run these lead programs and new agents. They come and go. They want to see them face to face. Nothing wrong with that, but they're kind of in one of those mortgage marketing company organizations where they just bring in a lot of agents and churn them. So a lot of the agents are not really the sharpest agents out there. And so the competition is not really keen. You're not really going up against guys like Texas very often, right? You're generally not. So if you do the things that make yourself look professional and your business and communicate well, you're going to get a lot of business just because you're going to stand out so much better than other people that you're talking to.
Yep. There's a lot of those MLM, that multi-level marketing groups that have like 10, 15 layers under the top, and most of the agents, unfortunately, are not using the skills and technology that our agents are using. So, like it or not, that's the way it is. Okay, let's we have a couple more slides, and then we're going to wrap up here. But Rich, I mean, that was awesome stuff. That was great. I'd love to feature you again. Keep in mind, Kent and Richard are doing this out of the kindness of their heart. They're not being paid. They're not getting anything free because of this or an extra commission. So I truly want to thank both of these gentlemen for taking the time and speaking with our agents. And again, thank you to Steve. We have just a couple more slides left, and I think you're going to want to hear about this and how these leads could be free for you. And then we'll jump into a basic CRM platform that Rich was talking about, and then we'll end the call. So moving forward is Joseph Loughran. He's going to take us through a few slides. We'll be done in about 5 minutes or so. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So real quick, I want to mention the lead reimbursement program. Basically, when you purchase the mortgage leads and then you write and place a policy, we actually reimburse your lead costs for each placed policy. So it's not uncommon for us to be sending out checks on a weekly basis to all the agents that are using the lead programs. It really just helps offset the cost of that lead program, just to give you a little bit better of an incentive to actually use the program. And like Bill said, we really believe in the program strongly, which is why we put that together. Additionally, everybody on the call will receive an email with everything we're covering today. We're also going to include some agent lead resources, including FAQ on the mortgage lead program to cover even more questions than we dove into today. We're going to also talk about a sample phone script for term and final expense closes, and then also a script on the ultimate cross-selling close. So these are great things to keep on your desk to brush up on. You can also modify them and really kind of tweak them and make them your own. Also, we have some great resources on KerryLevinson.com. Underneath the product tab, we actually have a section that just focuses on simplified issue and non-med plans. You can click through the different carriers and have access to every single one of those products. So again, we will email out all information, and you can go to KerryLevinson.com to access everything.
Okay. Great stuff, Joe. Thank you for that. And just a couple more slides, and we're going to end the call here. So, Rich mentioned, and I know Kent uses this as well, is his CRM tool, and this is the ultimate follow-up. I'm not going to take too much time. This is available at no charge for all active Levinson agents. And basically, the way you need to look at this, on the left side is going to be your CRM tool that sends out weekly email blasts or birthday, anniversary e-blasts, or if you want to send out a monthly newsletter. It's a way to keep your name in front of all your clients and prospects and have everything available at your fingertips. Okay, real neat. If you want to go in, we have a library of hundreds of documents that you can personalize. They're all categorized, let's say life insurance, long-term care, disability, annuities, all of the above. And again, this is available at no charge. So on the left side of Agency Automator is your basic CRM tool to keep your name in front of your clients and prospects. On the right side of Agency Automator, that's where you're going to go in and you can pull from our list. We have over 1 million prospects all over the U.S. You can go in and you can dial in and say, okay, I'm working a mortgage protection campaign, and I want all younger homeowners that were recently married between the ages of 30 and 50 years old that had a baby born within 12 months, let's say. And the system will pull out names, numbers, addresses, and emails of everyone that falls into that criteria. Then you get 1,000 new prospects or leads to go market to. Okay, and this is all available at no charge. So the right side is your marketing tool where you can access our database of 1 million prospects, and you can dial in whatever criteria you want, okay, depending on the campaign that you're running. And that's where you're going to get 1,000 prospects every month. On the left side is your basic CRM tool you're going to use to keep your name in front of your prospects and clients, all available at no charge if you're active with us, okay? So Agency Automator, awesome tool, exclusive to Levinson agents only. Definitely a no-brainer. We have webinars twice a week, and the creator and co-creator of the program hosts those webinars weekly along with us here at Levinson. So a great way to ask questions and jump right in. Okay, some of the agent training events that are coming up, and this is what you're on right now, is a live agency training webinar. And these are great because it just kind of keeps you in the loop so you don't have to go jumping around and looking at various e-blasts and go all over the internet to try to find out what's hot and what's not. So Agency Automator every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Agency Automator Plus, that's the same exact thing. It's just used to recruit new agents if you want to build your own downline, let's say. That's every Monday and Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Right below that, we have a brand new relaunch of our long-term care division, new sales ideas and concepts on the 14th, 2 p.m. Eastern. On the bottom, we have Prudential. We're going over their basic life products, and they have a neat new turnkey platform that's available, especially for small business marketing. That'll be hosted by us and our VP at Prudential on the 21st of September, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, if you're, let's say you're home on a weekend or late at night or in the morning and you want to search around and check out some of our training webinars in the past. We have a full library available on kerrylevinson.com that you can sort through. Everything's categorized, but it's a great way for you to get your hands wet and jump into all of our unique platform and sales programs. Okay, so we're going to end with this. Now, everyone on the call is going to get an email, and we contain all of the information that we went over on today's training. We'll also give you lead scripts and various scripts on DI or mortgage protection insurance. We're going to include everything in that thank you email. It's going to be delayed, so you'll have it by tomorrow night by the latest, just because we're going to be working remotely. We're going to be back in business by Monday morning, hopefully, if everything goes well. So again, my thoughts and prayers go out to any and all Floridians that will be affected by this, and of course everyone from Houston and Texas that were affected from Harvey as well. So we're going to end with this. No matter what's going on with hurricanes and life insurance selling and any catastrophic events, okay, it's so important that we all stay positive and try to put our right foot forward and see the light. And like Rich was saying and Kent was saying, you know, you're selling over the phone. These people hear you. They feel your energy. So be in that right state of mind and do whatever it takes. Just for that reason, I created a Positive Tuesday. And you'll see on our Levinson Facebook page, I update every Tuesday with a motivational quote. This past Tuesday was, guess what? It's Tuesdays. Time to hustle and grind like someone is right behind you, ready to pass. The point is, be in that state of mind that sizzles. People are going to feel that, and it will affect your sales, I promise you. Even if you're brand new in the business or you're an MDRT producer and you've been around for 40 years, either way, be in that right state of mind. With that said, have a wonderful rest of the week, a great weekend, and good selling. Take care.